Hello, everyone. Welcome back to All About English. I hope you're having a wonderful day.
Hi, everyone. We're really happy you're here with us for another English podcast.
Before we get started, if you enjoy learning English with us, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with a friend who's also learning English. It really helps us create more content like this.
Thank you so much for your support. Now, let's jump into today's topic.
Have you ever noticed that while you're listening to English, your brain keeps translating every single word into your native language?
If that's happening to you, don't worry. It's completely normal. And today, we're going to talk about why it happens and, more importantly, how you can stop doing it.
So let's get started. So, James, let's start with a question that almost every English learner has asked at some point. Why do we translate everything in our heads?
That's a great question, Emma. And the first thing I want everyone listening to know is this. If you translate while learning English, you're completely normal. Almost every language learner does it in the beginning.
Exactly. So if you've ever felt frustrated because you keep translating every sentence into your native language, don't worry. You're not doing anything wrong.
Right. Think about how your brain has worked your entire life. Since you were a child, you've understood the world through your native language. Every object, every emotion, and every experience has been connected to those words.
So when we start learning English, our brain naturally tries to connect those new English words to the language it already knows.
Exactly. It's simply trying to make sense of something unfamiliar. It's the fastest solution your brain can find at the beginning.
For example, if I say the word apple, a beginner might immediately think of the word for apple in their own language before actually picturing the fruit.
That's right. Instead of seeing the image of an apple, they're making an extra stop. It goes like this: English word, native language, meaning.
It's almost like taking a longer road to reach the same destination.
That's a perfect way to describe it.
Is translating always a bad thing?
Not at all. In the early stages of learning, translating can actually help you build your first vocabulary. It helps you understand basic meanings and gives you a starting point.
So translating isn't the enemy.
Exactly. The problem begins when you continue depending on translation for everything, even after you've already learned many English words.
Can you explain that a little more?
Sure. Imagine you've known the word house for years. If every single time you hear house, you still translate it into your native language before understanding it, you're making your brain do unnecessary work.
It's like using a calculator to solve 2 plus 2 every single day.
Exactly. You already know the answer. Eventually, you don't need the extra step anymore.
So our goal isn't to stop translating overnight?
Definitely not. That's one of the biggest misconceptions. You don't wake up one morning and suddenly start thinking only in English.
It's a gradual process.
Yes. Little by little, your brain starts recognizing words directly. First, it understands simple words, then short phrases, later complete sentences, and eventually entire conversations.
I think many learners become discouraged because they expect that change to happen in just a few weeks.
That's true, but language learning takes time. The important thing is to notice the small improvements along the way.
For instance, maybe a few months ago, you had to translate words like morning, water, or book. Now, you probably understand them instantly without even thinking about it.
And that's proof that your brain is already changing.
So, how does the brain make that change?
Through repetition and exposure. Every time you hear English in a natural context, your brain becomes a little more familiar with the language. Eventually, it realizes that it doesn't need to translate everything anymore.
That's why listening is so important.
Exactly. Listening gives your brain thousands of examples of real English. The more examples it receives,
the faster it begins recognizing patterns naturally.
So instead of memorizing isolated words, we're training our brains to understand English as a complete language.
That's exactly the goal. We want to understand ideas, not just individual words.
What should someone do if they catch themselves translating during a conversation?
First, don't panic. Don't tell yourself, I'm terrible at English. Instead, simply notice it. Awareness is the first step toward improvement.
So instead of feeling frustrated, we should just recognize what's happening?
Exactly. Be patient with yourself. Every English learner has gone through this stage, including people who are fluent today.
That's really encouraging because it reminds us that translating isn't a permanent habit.
Not at all. It's simply one step in the learning journey. The more you listen, the more you read, and the more you expose yourself to English, the less you'll rely on translation.
Now that we understand why our brains naturally translate everything, let's explore the next question. Why does translating every single word actually slow down your English? And what happens when you finally stop doing it? Now that we understand why our brains naturally translate everything, let's answer another important question. Why does translating every single word actually slow down your English?
This is where many learners have an aha moment. At first, translating feels helpful, but after a while, it actually becomes a habit that keeps you from understanding English naturally.
Can you explain what happens inside our brains when we translate?
Of course. Imagine someone says a simple sentence like, I'm going to the supermarket after work. If you're translating, your brain follows several steps. First, it hears the English sentence. Then, it translates it into your native language. Finally, it understands the meaning.
So instead of understanding the sentence immediately, our brain is taking an extra journey.
Exactly. Every sentence has an extra step, and those extra steps take time. During a real conversation, those few seconds make a huge difference.
Imagine you're talking with a native English speaker. While you're still translating the first sentence, they've already asked you another question.
And by the time you've figured out your answer, the conversation has already moved on.
I think almost every English learner has experienced that at least once.
Absolutely. It's one of the most common challenges, and it's nothing to feel embarrassed about.
So the problem isn't that we're translating. The problem is that translation makes us too slow for real conversations.
That's exactly right. Real conversations happen naturally. People don't pause after every sentence and wait for us to translate.
That explains why listening sometimes feels difficult, especially when people speak quickly.
Yes, many learners believe native speakers talk too fast. Sometimes that's true, but very often the real problem is that the learner is trying to translate every sentence instead of simply listening.
That's interesting. So the speaker isn't always too fast. Our brain is just doing too much work?
Exactly. Imagine trying to read a book while solving a math problem at the same time. You could probably do both, but you'd be much slower than if you focused on only one task.
That's a great comparison.
Translating is like giving your brain an extra job that it doesn't always need.
So what happens when someone stops translating?
Little by little, they begin connecting English words directly to ideas and images instead of connecting them to another language.
So if I hear the word beach, I shouldn't immediately think of the translation. I should imagine the ocean, the sand, the waves, and the sunshine.
Exactly. That's a huge step forward. You're creating a direct connection between English and the real world.
That sounds much more natural.
It is. Think about how children learn their first language. Nobody hands them a dictionary. They hear words while seeing objects, actions, and emotions. Their brains connect the word directly to the experience.
So, in a way, we're trying to recreate that process as adults?
That's right. We may learn faster because we're adults,
But the brain still benefits from direct connections instead of constant translation.
Does this mean learners should never use their native language?
Not at all. Your native language is a useful tool. It can help you understand difficult grammar or explain complex ideas. The goal isn't to eliminate your native language. The goal is to stop depending on it for every single English sentence.
I think that's an important difference.
Exactly. Use translation when it's helpful, but don't let it become a habit that slows your progress.
What's one simple thing our listeners can do today to begin reducing translation?
Start by accepting that you don't need to understand every single word. Focus on the overall message. Ask yourself, what is this person trying to tell me? Instead of, what does every word mean?
That takes a lot of pressure away.
It really does. The goal of communication isn't perfection. The goal is understanding.
And I suppose the more we practice listening this way, the easier it becomes?
Absolutely. At first, it might feel uncomfortable because your brain wants to translate. But every time you resist that habit and simply keep listening, you're training your brain to process English more naturally.
It's almost like learning to ride a bicycle. At first, it feels strange and difficult. But eventually, your brain learns the skill automatically.
That's a perfect comparison. One day you'll suddenly notice that you understood an entire sentence without translating it. Then a whole conversation. Those moments are exciting because they show that you're making real progress.
So, if you're listening right now and you still translate sometimes, don't worry. That doesn't mean you're failing. It simply means you're still training your brain.
Exactly. Be patient, trust the process, and keep exposing yourself to English every day. One day you'll realize that you're understanding English without even thinking about it.
Now that we know why translating slows us down, let's talk about the most exciting part. How can you start thinking directly in English and make it feel natural in your everyday life? We've talked about why we translate and why it can slow down our progress. Now comes the exciting part. How can we actually start thinking in English?
The first thing I want everyone to know is that thinking in English doesn't happen overnight. It's a skill, just like speaking, listening, or reading. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes.
I think a lot of learners imagine that fluent English speakers suddenly wake up one day and start thinking in English automatically.
I wish it worked that way, but the truth is, it happens little by little. You train your brain one small step at a time.
So, where should someone begin?
Start with the simplest things around you. You don't need complicated vocabulary. In fact, simple English is the best place to begin.
Let's imagine you're sitting in your bedroom right now. Instead of thinking in your native language, look around and name the objects you can see.
Exactly. You might think, there's my desk. My laptop is open. I have a glass of water. The window is open. My phone is charging.
Those are simple sentences, but they're incredibly powerful because you're connecting English directly to what you see.
That's right. You're not translating anymore. You're simply describing your world in English.
What if someone doesn't know every word?
That's perfectly okay. Don't stop thinking just because you don't know one word. Use the vocabulary you already have.
For example, maybe you don't know the word bookshelf. Instead of stopping, you can simply think, the books are over there.
Exactly. Communication is more important than perfection.
I think that's something learners forget. We don't always need the perfect word to express an idea.
Absolutely. Even native speakers sometimes describe things when they can't remember a specific word.
What's another easy exercise?
Talk to yourself in English throughout the day.
Some people might think that sounds a little funny.
Maybe. But it's one of the best exercises you can do because there's no pressure. No one is judging you, and you can practice whenever you want.
So instead of thinking, I need to make lunch in your native language, you simply think, I'm going to make lunch now.
Or while you're getting dressed, you might think, I'm looking for my blue shirt. I think it's in the closet.
Little by little, these small thoughts become natural.
Exactly. The goal isn't to create perfect sentences. The goal is to get comfortable using English inside your own mind.
I've also heard people recommend imagining conversations. Does that really help?
It absolutely does. In fact, it's one of my favorite exercises.
How does it work?
Imagine you're meeting a new friend. You ask yourself, "Hi, what's your name?" Then you answer, "My name is James." Next you ask, "Where are you from?" And then you answer that question too.
So you're playing both parts of the conversation?
Exactly. It might feel a little unusual at first, but it's excellent practice. You're teaching your brain to react in English instead of translating first.
I like that idea because you can practice anywhere.
Exactly. You can do it while walking, waiting for the bus, driving, cooking, or even taking a shower.
That's one of the biggest advantages. You don't need a classroom or a textbook. You can practice almost anywhere.
That's right. Every few minutes of practice matter.
What about visual thinking?
That's another great technique. When you hear an English word, don't picture the translation. Picture the object itself.
So if I hear the word dog, I shouldn't think of the word in my native language. I should imagine a dog running in a park.
Exactly. The more your brain connects English words directly to images, the faster you'll understand English naturally English.
Does listening also help us think in English?
More than almost anything else. Every podcast, every story, and every conversation gives your brain another opportunity to hear how English is naturally used.
So even if we don't realize it, our brain is learning patterns while we listen.
Exactly. That's why regular listening is so powerful. After hearing the same expressions many times, you stop translating them because they become familiar.
Expressions like, how's it going? That sounds great. Or see you later eventually become automatic.
Right. You hear them so often that your brain recognizes their meaning instantly.
Is there one mistake people should avoid while trying to think in English?
Yes. Don't force yourself to think in complicated English. Keep it simple. Simple English builds confidence, and confidence helps you improve faster.
That's such an important reminder. Simple doesn't mean bad. Simple means practical.
Exactly. Every fluent English speaker started with simple words and simple sentences.
So today, challenge yourself. Spend just 5 or 10 minutes thinking only in English. Describe what you see, what you're doing, or what you're planning to do later today.
Don't worry about mistakes. Don't stop because you don't know one word. Keep your thoughts moving, stay relaxed, and trust yourself. Every day you practice, you're getting one step closer to thinking naturally in English.
Now that you know how to start thinking in English, let's finish today's episode with some simple daily exercises you can use to make this habit part of your everyday life. Okay, we've talked about why we translate, why translating can slow us down, and how to start thinking directly in English. Now, let's finish today's episode with something practical. Simple daily exercises that anyone can do.
That's my favorite part, because you don't need expensive courses, special equipment, or hours of free time. These exercises only take a few minutes each day, but they can make a big difference over time.
So, James, if one of our listeners asked, what's the first exercise I should start today? What would you recommend?
I'd recommend something I call the 5-minute English mind. For just 5 minutes every day, try to think only in English.
Only 5 minutes?
Yes, 5 focused minutes are much better than trying to do an hour and giving up after 2 days.
So, during those 5 minutes, what should we think about?
Anything around you. Describe what you can see, what you're doing, or what you're planning to do.
For example, I'm sitting at my desk. The weather looks sunny today. After this, I'm going to make some coffee.
Exactly. Keep your thoughts simple. The goal isn't to impress anyone. The goal is to train your brain to stay in English.
What's another exercise our listeners can try?
Narrate your day. Imagine you're the narrator of your own life.
That actually sounds fun.
It really is. While you're cooking, you might think, I'm cutting some vegetables. Now I'm adding a little salt. The food smells really good.
Or while you're walking outside, you could think, there are a lot of people here today. The sky is beautiful. I think it's going to be a warm afternoon.
Exactly. Those simple thoughts help English become part of your everyday life.
What about listening practice? How can we use today's lesson while listening to podcasts like this one?
That's a great question. The next time you listen to an English podcast, don't pause after every sentence. Just relax and focus on understanding the main idea.
And if you hear a word you don't know?
Keep listening. Don't immediately reach for a dictionary. Try to guess the meaning from the context. You might be surprised by how much you can understand.
I think that's one of the biggest mindset changes. Trusting yourself instead of stopping every few seconds.
Exactly. Your brain is smarter than you think. Give it the opportunity to figure things out naturally.
I know some learners worry because they make mistakes while thinking in English.
And that's completely okay. Remember, these conversations are happening inside your own mind. Nobody is grading you. Nobody expects perfection.
That's such an important reminder.
Every mistake is part of the learning process. The more you practice, the more confident you'll become.
Before we finish today's episode, should we give our listeners a challenge?
Absolutely. I think they're ready.
All right, everyone. Here's today's English challenge.
For the next 7 days, spend just 5 minutes every day thinking only in English.
Describe your surroundings, talk about your plans, think about your day. Ask yourself simple questions and answer them in English.
You can ask yourself, what am I going to do after this? Or what was the best part of my day? Then answer those questions using simple English.
Don't use a translator. Don't switch back to your native language unless you absolutely need to. Just do your best with the English you already know.
Remember, simple English is good English. Every sentence you create helps your brain become more comfortable with the language.
We'd also love to hear from you.
After you complete today's challenge, come back and leave a comment. Tell us how it went. Was it easy? Was it difficult? What did you learn about yourself?
Your experience might even encourage another learner who's facing the same challenge.
And if today's episode helped you, don't forget to support the channel.
Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to All About English, and share it with a friend who's learning English too. Your support helps us create more free content like this.
Thank you so much for spending your time with us today. We truly appreciate every single one of you.
Remember, becoming fluent isn't about studying for hours in one day. It's about taking small steps every single day.
Keep listening. Keep thinking in English. Keep believing in yourself. Every day you practice, you're getting closer to your goal.
We hope you enjoyed today's conversation and found it helpful.
Join us in the next episode of All About English, where we'll continue helping you improve your English through real conversations and practical learning tips.
Until next time, take care, keep practicing, and never stop learning.
See you in the next episode. Goodbye, everyone.
Thanks for listening to All About English. Keep listening, keep learning, and keep growing. See you soon.